If you've ever looked at someone who seems unstoppable and wondered, how do they do it every day? This video will give you the real answers. There's no magic, no secret handshake. Winners just live differently. They do certain things day in and day out that push them forward when most people would quit. They're not always the smartest or the most talented, but they're consistent, intentional, and clear about who they're becoming. In this video, you're going to learn exactly what those daily habits are. Not fluff, not theory. Actual, specific actions you can take starting today. We're going to go deep into how winners think, how they plan, how they respond to failure, and what they do that most people avoid because it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. By the time you finish watching, you won't just feel motivated, you'll be armed with practical tools to apply to your own life. And if you're tired of starting over, tired of wasting time, or tired of feeling stuck, then what you're about to hear will matter more than you think. Because these aren't just tips, they're commitments, they're habits that create momentum, and they're choices that, if repeated, can change everything. So if you're ready to break the cycle of excuses and start living with purpose and discipline, keep watching. Let's get into the 10 things winners do every single day and how you can do them too. Chapter 1. Wake up early and start the day with purpose. Waking up early is more than a lifestyle choice. It's a commitment to showing up for your life before the world demands anything from you. It's one of the most powerful habits a person can build, not because of what time shows on the clock, but because of the decision behind it. When you rise early, you send a message to yourself that you are ready to own your day, not drift through it. You're not waiting for life to happen to you. You're stepping into the driver's seat. That kind of inner discipline builds something that no external motivation ever could: self-respect. Most people wake up already behind. They hit snooze, they rush through their morning, they react to messages, notifications, problems, and demands. From the moment their eyes open, they're already playing catch-up. And when you start your day that way, you're not living from a place of strength. You're surviving. You become a passenger in your own life, being dragged from one obligation to another. But that's not how winners live. Winners take control. They create the day before it begins. They don't start with chaos, they start with clarity. Waking up early gives you a head start, not on others, but on yourself. It's your time to be fully present, before the noise of the world takes over. Before anyone asks you for anything, you have that quiet window to center yourself, prepare, and step into your day with purpose. You think clearly, you move intentionally. You're not scrambling, you're choosing. And that's what makes the difference between a day that builds you and a day that breaks you. Building the habit of waking up early doesn't require perfection. It requires commitment. You don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. and run a marathon before sunrise. You don't need a complicated routine. What matters is that you stop beginning your day with avoidance. No more hiding under the covers. No more escaping into your phone. The longer you delay your start, the more control you give up. So take it back. Set your alarm for a time that challenges you, but doesn't overwhelm you. Maybe that's 6 a.m. Maybe it's 7. But make it consistent. Start with what you can keep, not with what sounds impressive. And when that alarm goes off, get up, not slowly, not with excuses. Stand up and start moving. Your body will resist, especially in the beginning. That resistance is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're doing something different. Winners don't wait to feel like doing something. They act, and the feeling follows. Getting up early trains you to do hard things on command. It builds the muscle of self-control, and the more you strengthen that muscle, the more capable you become of taking charge in every area of your life. When you wake up early with purpose, You don't just have more time, you have better time. The quality of your decisions, your thoughts, your attitude, everything sharpens in those early hours. The world is quiet. Distractions are fewer. It's just you, your mind, and your next move. Use that window wisely. Don't waste it scrolling. Don't drift into autopilot. Use it to do what matters most, before anything else gets in the way. That might mean planning your day with clarity. It might mean journaling, meditating, reading, or working on a personal goal. What you do first often shapes what you do next. So make sure your first act is aligned with who you want to become. Think about how you feel when you wake up early. Take care of your body, set your intentions, and begin your day with calm and strength. There's no rushing, no guilt, no sense of being behind. That feeling is self-mastery. It's not about controlling the world, it's about controlling your response to it. And that power changes everything. You stop blaming circumstances, you stop reacting to the mood of the day. You create your own momentum, and you ride it forward. Now compare that to waking up late. You skip breakfast, you ignore your thoughts. You scroll aimlessly, you rush into your commitments without a clear mind. That kind of start steals your peace. It steals your power, and over time, it drains your confidence. Because you know you're not living to your potential, you're just getting by. Winners don't live like that. They demand more of themselves, not because someone else is watching, but because they refuse to disrespect their own time. Purpose gives your morning meaning. Without it, waking up early becomes just another rule. But with it, those early hours become sacred. They become the foundation of your growth. Every morning, you get a chance to start again. You get to reset your mindset, your energy, your choices. You don't have to carry yesterday's mistakes into today. You don't have to let your past define your potential. Each new morning is a fresh opportunity to rise above who you were yesterday and become the person you've committed to being. To live with purpose, you must ask yourself every morning, what matters most today? What do I need to focus on? What kind of person do I want to be when I show up in the world? Write it down, say it out loud. Remind yourself, purpose is not something you find once and keep forever. It's something you return to daily. You re-choose it. You recommit to it. That's how you build a life you're proud of, one morning at a time. You don't need to feel motivated every day to act with purpose. What you need is clarity. When you're clear on what you value, what you want, and who you're becoming, your actions follow more easily. Motivation is a feeling. Purpose is a choice. Choose it, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The more you choose it, the easier it becomes to keep choosing it. And here's the truth. Waking up early is hard. So is living with purpose. So is becoming the kind of person you respect. But so is staying stuck. So is feeling regret. So is knowing you could be more and never doing anything about it. Every path has a cost. Winners choose the cost that builds them. They choose the hard that leads to strength. They choose the early mornings that create clarity, power, and peace. Start simple. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier than usual. Prepare the night before your clothes, your water, your journal, whatever you need to make the morning smoother. Place your phone across the room so you have to get up to turn it off. When the alarm rings, don't think. Don't debate. Stand up, walk to the sink, wash your face, drink water, breathe deeply, and begin. That moment, when you rise while the world sleeps, is where transformation starts. If you mess up, don't quit. If you sleep in one day, get back on track the next. This is not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Growth happens in the repetition. Identity is shaped by what you do most, not what you do once. Every time you wake up early and act with purpose, you're proving to yourself that you are in control, and that kind of proof rewires your mind. You stop hoping for change, you start becoming the change. In time it won't just be a habit, it will be part of who you are. You'll look forward to that quiet space in the morning. You'll crave that sense of ownership and progress. You'll find peace in being alone with your thoughts, and you'll no longer be a slave to time. You'll be its master. That's what winners do. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it every morning, no matter how they feel. So if you want to change your life, don't start with something big. Don't wait for the right mood. Start by showing up early. Start by choosing discipline. Start by taking yourself seriously enough to rise with intention. You deserve a life that feels meaningful, and it begins the moment you decide that your time is worth protecting, that your peace is worth earning, that your day is worth owning. There is no perfect morning routine. There is no magic hour. What matters is what it means to you. Waking up early is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you were meant to be, clear, focused, steady and strong. And every day you choose to begin your day with purpose, you step closer to that version of yourself. One choice, 1 hour, one morning at a time. Nothing will change if you don't. But everything can change if you do. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings and your body says no, stand up anyway, breathe, move, begin. Because when you own your morning, you win the day, and winners don't rise by accident. They rise on purpose. Chapter 2. Write clear goals and focus on one daily priority. Every day presents a new chance to move forward or fall behind. The direction depends on one thing: clarity. Without it, the mind drifts. You get distracted, you react to whatever shows up, and by the time the day ends, you feel like you were busy but not productive. You moved but you didn't progress. That kind of life wears you down. It leaves you feeling stuck, confused and frustrated. But there's a way out, and it starts by deciding what you want and narrowing your focus to one thing at a time. Writing clear goals is not just about making a to-do list. It's about setting an intention that guides your attention. When you write something down, you give it weight, you give it direction, you turn a vague desire into a concrete decision. That decision becomes the filter through which you judge your time, your actions, and your priorities. And once you create that filter, your day no longer belongs to everyone else. It belongs to you. Most people don't write down what they want because they don't want to confront what they're avoiding. They keep it all in their head, where it's safe, where nothing can be measured, where failure doesn't have to be named. But that safety comes at a cost. It keeps them living in circles. If you want clarity, you need to be honest with yourself. What are you really trying to achieve? What needs to happen today to get one step closer? Write it. Make it specific. Make it real. General goals create general results, but clear goals give you direction, structure, and momentum. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to do too much in a single day. They overload themselves with tasks, thinking quantity will bring satisfaction. It never does. The day becomes a blur. The mind gets overwhelmed. Energy is scattered, and progress stalls. You weren't made to juggle everything at once. You were made to pour yourself fully into one thing that matters. That's where strength comes from. Single-minded attention. Focus on one daily priority. Not 5. Not 3. Just one. Pick the thing that will make the biggest difference. The task that, if completed, will move the needle forward. Ask yourself, if I only get one thing done today, What must it be? That's your daily priority. Don't guess, choose it with intention. Write it clearly and build your day around it. Once that priority is set, protect it. Structure your time to support it. Don't wait until the end of the day when energy is low and distractions have already taken over. Do it first, when your mind is fresh and your willpower is strong. If it truly matters, it deserves your best. The earlier you tackle it, the less chance life has to steal your focus. That's not just productivity, it's discipline. When your day is filled with noise, distractions, and shallow urgency, it's easy to feel like everything is important, but that's not true. Most things can wait. Most messages don't need an instant reply. Most tasks are not as urgent as they feel. But the thing you avoid, the thing that makes you uncomfortable, the thing that stretches you, that's usually the thing that matters. And that's what your daily focus should be. You don't need endless motivation. You need structure. You need to wake up, look at your written goal, and remind yourself, this is today's mission. Then follow through. Don't rely on how you feel. Follow the commitment you made when your mind was clear. That kind of consistency rewires your brain. It changes how you see yourself. You stop being someone who tries and starts becoming someone who follows through. The truth is, your time is limited. You don't get to redo the day once it's gone. So you have to choose what matters before the day chooses for you. Writing down your goal is not just a planning exercise. It's a declaration of how you intend to show up. It's you saying, this is where my energy goes. This is what I refuse to ignore. This is how I lead my life. That mindset separates those who achieve from those who coast. Even on the hardest days, when your mind is cloudy or life throws you off course, your written goal can ground you. It becomes the anchor you return to when things get noisy. Instead of reacting, you return to that one clear action. You return to that one step forward. That's how real change happens. Not through bursts of effort, but through focused action repeated daily. You don't need more time. You need more intention. The most successful people in the world don't have extra hours in their day. They just refuse to waste them. They start their day knowing exactly what matters. They don't leave that choice to chance, and they don't move on to the next thing until the most important thing is done. That's how you win the day. Not by doing everything, but by doing the right thing. If you want to build confidence, set a goal and complete it. Confidence doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from evidence. When you see yourself following through, even on a small task, you start to trust yourself. You stop doubting your abilities. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop overthinking. You just act. And each time you act, your belief grows. That belief fuels discipline, and that discipline creates results. Writing clear goals is also how you track progress. If you don't write things down, you forget what you've done. You forget how far you've come. You forget the small victories. But when you look back at a notebook filled with clear daily intentions and completed actions, you see a path, you see momentum. You realize that even slow progress adds up. That visual proof reminds you that you're not the same person you were a month ago. You've been showing up. You've been growing. You've been earning every step. And yes, not every day will go as planned. Some days will get messy. Distractions will come. You might fall short. That's normal. What matters is that you return the next day with clarity again. You write your goal again. You focus again. You commit again. That's how consistency is built. Not through perfection, but through repetition. When you write your goal for the day, keep it short. Use simple words. Make it specific enough that you'll know when it's done. Don't write vague goals like be productive or work on my project. Write finish the draft of the first page or call the client and confirm the meeting. Specificity sharpens focus. It removes room for excuses. You either did it or you didn't. And that kind of clarity pushes you to act. Choosing one priority daily also gives your mind a break. You no longer have to carry 10 tasks in your head. You just focus on one. You finish it, and then if you have time and energy, you can move on. But even if you don't, you've still won the day. Because you did the thing that mattered most. That sense of completion builds peace. It ends the day with purpose instead of pressure. Over time, this habit of writing goals and focusing on one priority becomes part of who you are. You stop waiting to feel inspired. You stop rushing through the day. You start each morning with direction. You move through your hours with purpose. And you end each day knowing you didn't waste it. That's not just effective. That's freeing. You were never meant to chase everything. You were meant to lead yourself with focus. And each time you write your goals and stick to one priority, you prove that leadership to yourself. You strengthen your character, you sharpen your results, and you step into the version of you that doesn't just dream of growth, but builds it every single day. Chapter 3. Exercise your body to sharpen your energy and drive. ChatGPT said, "Moving your body isn't a luxury, it's essential. When you exercise, you send a signal to your mind that you value yourself enough to invest in your energy. It's one of the most reliable ways to sharpen your focus and renew your drive." If you've ever noticed how your thoughts feel clearer after a walk, or how stress melts away after a jog, you already know this truth. Physical movement clears mental clutter. It fuels confidence. It reminds you that you're capable of pushing through resistance, and that builds momentum that carries into every other part of your day. Action doesn't need perfection, it needs consistency. You don't have to run a marathon or lift heavy weights, you just have to start. Choose a form of movement that you enjoy and can sustain. Brisk walking, body weight exercises, yoga, cycling, every kind of exercise builds your energy bank. Build a simple routine you can maintain day after day. By choosing consistency, you reinforce the message that you care about your well-being. That attitude spills over. Suddenly, you're not just exercising, you're taking responsibility for your life. Routine gives you structure. Set a time that works for your schedule and stick with it. Treat that time like an appointment. Don't let it slide. If mornings are your best hours, move then. If evenings work better, commit to that. Protect that time fiercely. When you're consistent, the resistance you feel in the first few days starts fading. You discover that the hardest part is showing up. Once you begin, you notice how quickly momentum builds. You move from thinking about exercise to feeling it, and then wanting it again. You build the habit muscle one rep at a time. As you exercise regularly, you begin to notice physical changes that motivate you: more energy, smoother breathing, better mood, improved posture. Those changes give you proof. Proof that you can set a challenge and meet it consistently. You no longer rely on willpower alone because your body now backs your mindset. Your mind gains trust in your ability to follow through. That trust expands beyond exercise. It influences your work, your relationships, your goals. You start showing up for other parts of life the same way you showed up for your health. Challenge yourself progressively. Start with what you can do, and increase intensity or duration slowly. Strength builds over time. Your stamina grows over time. Your confidence grows too. If you begin with a 5-minute walk, in a week you'll walk 10. In a month you'll jog, and by mid-year you might be tackling bigger goals. That's how transformation happens, not overnight, but through steady, progressive effort that becomes part of who you are. Champions don't wait for fitness, they earn it. They move forward one step at a time. When you're consistent with movement, you'll notice other parts of life improving. Your sleep gets deeper. Your mind feels sharper. Problems don't overwhelm you as easily. You become more resilient. Physical stress becomes manageable, and mental stress diminishes. That ripple effect reminds you, caring for your body supports everything else. Your energy isn't separate from your discipline. It is part of it. The two reinforce each other. You exercise to sharpen your energy. You sharpen your energy to strengthen your discipline. You strengthen your discipline to improve your life. Record your progress. Keep a simple log of your workouts or steps. Seeing your consistency adds incentive to keep going. It also shows where you can adjust. Maybe you're lifting the same weight for weeks. Great. Now it's time to push a bit more. Maybe your energy drops midweek. Good. See if a lighter workout or stretching day helps. Adjusting based on real data shows you're intentional. You're not just following a routine, you're refining it. You're becoming the expert of your own growth. Keep it interesting. Variety prevents boredom, and boredom kills consistency. Mix strength, cardio, mobility, balance. Keep your body guessing. Variety also strengthens different aspects of your energy. Strength builds confidence. Mobility builds ease of movement. Cardio builds endurance. Every part of physical fitness supports resilience in real life. Adaptability is a life skill. When your body can handle different types of movement, your mind becomes flexible too. You start seeing challenges as opportunities. You start understanding that change doesn't have to be frightening. It can be empowering. Remember, recovery matters. You can't run full throttle all the time. Build in rest days to recharge. Use them to stretch, hydrate, breathe. Let your muscles and mind recover. Recovery is not a break from discipline, it's part of it. It shows maturity. It shows that you know strength isn't just how hard you push, it's how well you balance push and rest. That balance carries into all areas of life, from work to relationships. You become someone who knows when to act and when to pause. When the alarm rings and your muscles protest, remember what this is really about. It's not just about exercise, it's about showing up for yourself. It's a test of self-respect. It's proof you can commit and endure. And every time you honor that alarm, every time you stand up and move, you're laying another brick in the foundation of a stronger life. You're telling yourself that you matter. You're teaching your mind to trust your choices. You're reinforcing that future-focused mindset that winners carry. In time, your workouts will become more than routines. They'll become a symbol of your values, of who you are becoming. A person who shows up, a person who pushes through discomfort, a person who values progress over perfection, a person who understands that energy isn't found, it's created. So tomorrow, when it's time to move, know this. Every rep matters. Every step matters. Every day you honor your body, you honor your potential, and that honor becomes courage. Courage to face bigger challenges, courage to climb higher, courage to live with strength, clarity and purpose. Chapter 4. Read something uplifting to grow your inner strength. Every day, the world throws messages at you, some loud, some subtle. Most of them try to shape how you see yourself, how you think, what you believe, and what you fear. Without even noticing, your mind absorbs these signals. Negative headlines, empty distractions, pointless arguments, and the constant pull of other people's opinions can begin to wear down your inner strength. Over time, that mental noise becomes your background music. It makes it harder to focus, harder to stay hopeful, and harder to grow, but you can change the music. You can choose to feed your mind something better. You can build the habit of reading something that lifts you up, something that helps you become stronger from the inside out. What you read becomes part of how you think. Every uplifting sentence you take in becomes a building block for a stronger mindset. Reading isn't just about gaining information, it's about shaping your inner voice. It gives you new language to express your ideas. It reminds you that you're not alone. It shows you that others have struggled, endured, and risen. That connection gives you strength. It reminds you that you are part of something bigger than your problems, and that reminder helps you stay grounded even when life feels heavy. Start small. You don't need hours. 10 minutes of uplifting reading in the morning can shift your entire outlook. Choose something that speaks to the kind of person you want to become. That might be a passage from a timeless philosophy, a page from a personal growth book, a few paragraphs from a biography of someone you admire, or even a short message that brings clarity and peace. The key is consistency. What you feed your mind daily becomes your default mindset. It shapes your thoughts even when you're not paying attention. You don't have to read fast. You don't have to finish chapters. You just have to slow down enough to absorb the message. Quality matters more than speed. Sometimes one sentence is enough to trigger a breakthrough. One idea can anchor you through a difficult day. One story can change how you handle pressure. One quote can shift how you treat yourself when you fall short. But you only get those insights if you take the time to expose yourself to them. Uplifting reading doesn't work if it's a rare exception. It works when it becomes a habit, something you do because your peace depends on it. What you focus on expands. If you spend time reading about problems, conflict, and fear, your mind gets trained to look for more of that in daily life. But if you read about growth, resilience, and possibility, your mind starts scanning the world through a different lens. You become more patient, more hopeful, and more determined. You start responding to setbacks with curiosity instead of panic. You stop feeling helpless and start remembering your ability to choose your response. That shift begins with what you allow into your mental space. When you choose to read something uplifting, you're making an investment, not in entertainment, but in your mindset. And your mindset is your foundation. Everything else depends on it. If your mindset is weak, success feels heavy. If your mindset is strong, obstacles become challenges, not threats. The right words at the right time can pull you out of a spiral. They can help you pause before reacting. They can remind you that today is not the end. They can give you just enough strength to take one more step, and sometimes that's all you need. You don't need to search endlessly for the perfect book. Start with something simple. Choose one author who speaks truthfully and clearly. Read their words slowly. Highlight what hits you. Reread what speaks to your soul. Keep a notebook nearby and write down the ideas that move you. Don't just passively consume. Engage. Ask yourself how this idea applies to your current situation. Reflect on whether you're living that truth or just admiring it from a distance. Reading is powerful when it turns into reflection, and reflection is powerful when it leads to action. If you want to build inner strength, you need reminders of who you can be when life gets tough. Uplifting books do that. They remind you that your struggle is not new, that people before you have walked similar paths and made it through, that growth is slow, and that's okay. That pain can shape character if you respond with wisdom, that your future is not controlled by your past. These are not just nice thoughts, these are lifelines, and the more you read them, the deeper they settle into your system. They become the way you talk to yourself when no one's watching. Sometimes the most powerful part of reading is what it silences. It quiets the overthinking. It pauses the doubt. It interrupts the mental loops that keep you stuck. When you pick up something written with truth and care, it's like opening a window in a stuffy room. Fresh air comes in, you breathe easier, you see things differently. That clarity gives you the strength to move forward. You're no longer trapped in your head. You've been given a new way to see the same situation, and that's what gives you power. Don't wait for a crisis to build inner strength. Build it daily. Feed your mind before it starves for direction. Choose your inputs before the world chooses them for you. What you read either makes you heavier or lighter, stronger or weaker, more grounded or more scattered. Choose wisely. Set a time each day, even 5 minutes, where you open a book and open your mind. Use that time to reset your perspective. Let those pages remind you that life is not only about reacting to what happens, it's about preparing yourself to respond well. You're not just reading for pleasure, you're reading for growth. You're training your inner world to stay steady when the outer world shakes. You're feeding your beliefs, you're shaping your responses, you're protecting your peace. That kind of discipline doesn't show up in obvious ways, but over time you'll notice that the things that used to knock you down don't hit as hard. You'll notice that your recovery is faster. You'll notice that you start leading your life from a place of strength, not desperation. When your energy is low, when your mind is tired, when you feel like giving up, open a book that reminds you who you are. Let the words of others carry you for a moment. Let them guide you back to center. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Strong people don't rely only on their own voice. They build a team of voices through reading. They learn from those who walked before them. They grow by staying humble enough to learn every day. This habit of reading something uplifting is small, but its impact is massive. Over weeks, months, and years, it will shape how you think, how you feel, and how you act. You'll begin to carry peace where you once carried anxiety. You'll begin to feel rooted even when things around you change. You'll become the kind of person who doesn't just survive hard days, but grows from them. That's not a fantasy. That's the result of feeding your mind something that makes you stronger instead of weaker. The world will always offer you noise, fear, and distraction. You don't have to accept it. You can choose better. You can choose what you read, what you focus on, and who you become. And it starts with one small act, picking up something that uplifts you, not because everything is perfect, but because you've decided to grow anyway. And that decision changes everything. Chapter 5. Speak with intention and mean what you say always. Every time you speak, you're doing more than passing along information. You're revealing your mindset, your values, and your self-respect. Your words are a reflection of what's going on inside you. And the more intentional you are with them, the more clearly you'll see who you really are and what you're building. Most people talk without thinking. They speak out of habit, out of emotion, out of stress, or just to fill the silence. But when you start speaking with purpose, everything begins to shift. You slow down, you choose your words with care, you say what you mean, and you stop pretending to agree, explain, or perform just to be accepted. Speaking with intention means you take responsibility for your words. You stop blaming others for misunderstanding you because you've made it your job to be clear. You stop using words as weapons. You stop throwing around opinions without thinking through the consequences. You don't gossip, exaggerate, flatter, or complain because you know those things leave a trail of weakness behind. When you start choosing your words carefully, you begin standing on solid ground. You don't rush to speak. You pause. You breathe. You ask yourself if what you're about to say helps, builds, or leads. Most people waste their energy trying to say what others want to hear, but when you speak with intention, you say what needs to be said. You speak up when something matters. You don't hide behind vague phrases. You don't sugarcoat your truth. You express yourself honestly without being cruel or careless. You learn to say no without guilt. You learn to say yes with full commitment. You stop using maybe as an escape route. You stop talking in circles. You don't manipulate. You don't avoid. You're clear, calm, and rooted in truth. When your words match your values, people start to trust you. You're no longer trying to impress anyone. You're simply showing up as yourself, and that kind of clarity draws the right people in and pushes the wrong ones away. You're not everyone's favorite, but you are consistent. That matters more than being liked. It's not about being loud. It's about being real. You don't speak to dominate the room. You speak to bring clarity, direction, or peace. That kind of presence is rare, but it can be built, and it starts with awareness. Before you say anything, ask yourself what your words are building. Are you feeding drama or creating order? Are you making someone feel small or helping them grow? Are you wasting time or adding something valuable? These aren't easy questions, but asking them turns your speech into a tool, not a weapon. When you become intentional with your voice, you become harder to ignore. You speak less, but what you say carries more weight. People begin to notice that when you speak, it matters, not because you demand attention, but because your words carry depth. There's a cost to careless words. They break trust. They create confusion. They leave others guessing. And worst of all, they make you doubt yourself. Every time you say something you don't mean, you chip away at your own integrity. You start becoming a stranger to yourself. But every time you speak with honesty and precision, you grow stronger inside. You build a deeper connection with yourself. You no longer need to backtrack or cover your tracks. You walk with less mental weight because you know your words and actions match. Meaning what you say also means keeping your word. If you say you'll do something, you follow through. If you make a promise, you honor it. If you commit to a goal, you pursue it with effort. You stop giving empty reassurances. You stop making excuses. You stop talking about what you'll do and start proving it through action. Speaking with intention is not about being perfect with language. It's about being honest with yourself and others. It's about making your speech reflect who you truly are and what you truly believe. Sometimes, speaking with intention means staying silent. Not every opinion needs to be shared. Not every question deserves a rushed answer. Not every insult needs a comeback. Silence used wisely is a sign of strength. It gives you time to think. It protects your energy. It helps you respond instead of react. And when you do speak, your words have more power because you didn't waste them on noise. You weren't trying to win arguments. You were focused on building clarity. When you start practicing intentional speech, it may feel awkward at first. You may catch yourself rambling, over-explaining, or people-pleasing. That's normal. You've been conditioned to talk that way. But if you stay aware and make small corrections, you'll begin to notice something powerful. You feel more grounded. You stop needing approval. You feel stronger after conversations instead of drained. You don't rehearse what you should have said later because you said what needed to be said and you meant it. In relationships, intentional speech brings stability. You say what you feel with care. You share boundaries without guilt. You listen fully before responding. You don't throw words like weapons during disagreements. You don't punish people with silence. You don't fake agreement to avoid tension. You speak truthfully, even when it's uncomfortable, because you know that honesty leads to growth. You don't fear misunderstandings because you're doing your part to communicate clearly. You're not perfect, but you're present, and that builds trust. Speaking with intention is a discipline. It takes practice. It takes humility to admit when you've said something you didn't mean. It takes courage to speak up when staying silent would be easier. But it's a discipline that changes how people experience you. You become someone they can count on. Someone who says what they mean and does what they say. You become someone who brings order to chaos, direction to confusion, and peace to tension, not because you talk more, but because you speak better. Don't rush your words. Don't say yes when you mean no. Don't say you're fine when you're not. Don't agree just to avoid conflict, and don't speak just to fill space. Speak when you have something real to say. Speak from a place of strength, not insecurity. Speak with the intention to help, not harm. Speak with awareness of how your words land, not just how they sound. Every sentence you speak is a small act of leadership, whether you're aware of it or not. When you align your words with your principles, you feel more whole. You don't leave conversations regretting what you said. You don't shrink or overcompensate. You simply show up with clarity, and over time that clarity builds momentum. People respond differently to you. You respond differently to yourself. You don't need to be loud or polished. You just need to be real, consistent, and purposeful. That kind of voice doesn't fade into the background. It becomes your signature, and once you find it, you don't need to prove anything. You just need to keep speaking from the truth, and letting your words shape the life you're committed to living. Chapter 6. Take full responsibility for every thought and action. Nothing changes until you decide to take full responsibility for how you think, how you feel, and how you respond to life. Not some of the time. Not only when it's convenient, not only when it makes you look good. Full responsibility means owning the entire experience of being you. Your choices, your beliefs, your words, your habits, your results. It means you stop pointing fingers, you stop making excuses, you stop blaming what happened to you or who failed you or what you didn't get. You look directly at your life, and instead of looking for who's at fault, you ask, what can I do differently from this moment forward? Most people don't want to hear that. They want someone to rescue them. They want to be told that it's not their fault. They want to believe they're stuck because of circumstances or other people, and maybe that was true at one point, but it's not true forever, unless you keep using it as a reason to stay small. When you take responsibility for everything you think and do, you break the illusion that your life is out of your hands. You realize that even when you can't control what happens around you, you are fully in charge of what you choose next. It starts with your thoughts. You can't control which thoughts appear, but you are responsible for which ones you feed. You are responsible for the beliefs you reinforce. You are responsible for what you say to yourself when no one's watching. If your inner voice is negative, harsh, or full of fear, you don't get to blame your past forever. You are the one keeping that voice alive by repeating it daily. And if you want peace, clarity, or progress, you must learn to step back and question it. You must take ownership of your mind and choose thoughts that support the person you want to become. That doesn't mean lying to yourself. It doesn't mean pretending to feel good when you don't. It means choosing to be conscious, not reactive, not mindless, not a victim of mental autopilot. It means saying, yes, this thought is loud, but I don't have to follow it. It means interrupting the patterns that keep you stuck, even if they feel familiar. It means choosing to think with direction, not just habit. Because if you don't take responsibility for your thinking will run you, and it rarely leads anywhere good without effort. Then there are your actions. What you do, what you avoid, what you commit to, how you spend your time, how you show up. It all matters. You don't get to separate your actions from your identity. If you procrastinate, that's your choice. If you let fear decide for you, that's still a choice. If you avoid hard conversations, ignore your health, or lie to protect your comfort, that's on you, not your parents, not society, not your boss. It's you. And the moment you stop defending your patterns, you gain the power to change them. Taking responsibility isn't about shame or self-punishment. It's about freedom. You're no longer stuck waiting for someone to give you permission. You're no longer trapped by who you were 5 years ago. You're no longer dependent on external motivation to move forward. You become the one who decides what happens next. You become the person who owns their flaws and fixes them. You don't hide from your mistakes. You study them, learn from them, and use them as fuel. You become stronger, not because life is easier, but because you've accepted that it's your job to grow through it. No one is coming to fix your life. No one is going to hand you clarity, focus, discipline, or purpose. You have to build those things from the inside out. That begins the moment you stop waiting and start deciding. Most people want better results, but they don't want to take full ownership of the habits that create those results. They want change without discomfort, progress without accountability, confidence without action. But it doesn't work like that. You get what you consistently do, and you do what you believe you're responsible for. Responsibility also means stopping the blame game. The more you blame, the more you give your power away. It feels good in the short term. It makes you feel right. It gives you a story to hide behind. But over time, it weakens you. It makes you bitter. It keeps you stuck in patterns that don't serve you. When you start saying, "I am responsible for how I think, feel, and act," you stop depending on others to change for you to feel okay. You reclaim control of your energy, your mindset, your direction. You're not responsible for everything that's happened to you, but you are responsible for how you move forward with it. You are responsible for what you turn your pain into. You are responsible for how you treat people, even when you're hurting. You are responsible for your future, even if your past was full of pain. And the more responsibility you take, the lighter you feel, not because life gets easier, but because you stop fighting reality and start shaping it. Owning your choices also means facing the hard truths. If you're not where you want to be, it's not because you're incapable, it's because you haven't committed fully. If you're overwhelmed, you haven't mastered focus. If you're unclear, you haven't asked better questions. These are not judgments. They are reminders that growth is available, but only to the degree that you take it seriously. And if you're tired of repeating the same cycles, this is the path forward. Stop explaining your behavior. Start transforming it. It's easy to get distracted by what others are doing. But comparison is a form of avoidance. Every moment you spend judging others is a moment you're not improving yourself. When you take full responsibility, you no longer need to compete. You don't need validation. You don't need to keep score. You're too focused on your own evolution to waste time on that. You move from reactive to proactive. You stop drifting. You start choosing. Accountability is not something to fear. It's something to lean into. The more honest you are with yourself, the more power you gain. You don't need to beat yourself up to grow. You just need to be real about what you're doing, what it's costing you, and what you want instead. You need to stop justifying mediocrity and start creating alignment between your values and your actions. You will still fall short. You will still struggle. But when you take full responsibility, those moments no longer define you. They refine you. You don't run from failure, you use it. You don't blame the world. You adapt. You don't lower your standards. You rise to meet them. That's what separates people who talk about change from those who create it. They stop outsourcing their life to circumstances, and they take full command of their direction. And once you live this way, you'll never go back, because once you realize it's all on you, you also realize you've had the power all along. Chapter 7. Plan your time and protect it from distractions. Time is the most valuable thing you have, yet it's also the easiest to lose without realizing it. Every hour that slips through your fingers, every moment spent on things that don't matter, every distraction you give in to, those are pieces of your life you never get back. If you don't plan your time, someone else will. If you don't protect it, the world will consume it with noise, urgency, and meaningless tasks that take you nowhere. The truth is, people who make real progress don't have more time than you. They just treat their time like it matters. They don't wait until life calms down. They make space. They decide what deserves their energy before the world decides for them. If you're not planning your time, you're not managing your life. You're just reacting to everything around you. And when you live that way, on autopilot, you end up busy but not productive. You end up exhausted but not fulfilled. You chase everything and catch nothing. You're always rushing but rarely arriving anywhere that matters. Planning your time isn't about squeezing every second or being rigid. It's about becoming intentional. It's about understanding what moves your life forward and choosing to focus on that on purpose every day. Start by asking, what actually matters to me right now? What am I working toward? What do I want my life to feel like? These questions sound simple, but most people never slow down enough to ask them. They fill their schedule with what's urgent, not what's important. They spend their days reacting to messages, responding to other people's priorities, and wondering why they feel behind. Planning your time is about drawing a clear line between what you value and what distracts you. It's about giving your goals a seat at the table instead of hoping you'll get to them someday. Distractions don't always look like wasting time. Sometimes they look like staying busy with low-impact tasks, checking emails, scrolling through apps, jumping between ideas, saying yes to everything. Distractions thrive in a life without boundaries. If your calendar has no structure, if your attention is always scattered, if you allow every interruption to dictate your day, then your time is already being stolen, and the thief isn't always someone else. It's often your own lack of clarity. Protecting your time starts with decisions, not after you've already started your day, but before the notifications hit, before the noise begins. You decide what gets done. You choose what gets ignored. You block off the time you need to focus, to build, to reflect, to reset. You stop waiting for the right moment, and you create the environment that supports your goals. That means putting your phone out of reach when you need to think. It means turning off notifications that constantly pull your mind in 100 directions. It means saying no to things that sound appealing but add no real value. Time doesn't bend to your intentions. It responds to your systems. You can have all the ambition in the world, but without structure, it fades. Planning isn't about perfection. It's not about creating the perfect schedule. It's about giving your priorities a container. You don't have to fill every hour. You just have to protect the hours that matter. You don't need to control every detail. You just need to keep your focus aimed in the right direction. And here's something you must understand. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every message requires a reply. Not every opportunity is meant for you. If you don't guard your focus, people will use it for their own agendas. You'll find yourself doing things that don't align with your values, simply because you didn't have a plan to follow. That's how dreams die slowly, not with failure but with endless distraction. Your time is your responsibility. That includes how you use it, how you waste it, and how you recover it. If you let today slip away without focus, tomorrow will do the same. If you let 1 week go by without intention, months will follow. The only way to take control is to stop leaving it up to chance. Make planning a daily habit. Begin your morning by deciding what matters most. Define your top 3 priorities. Set time for deep work. Set time for breaks. Set time to breathe. Don't just react to the day, shape it. This doesn't require hours of planning. Just 10 minutes of clarity can change everything. You don't need fancy tools. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start showing up for your time with purpose. You don't need to schedule every second, but you do need to know what you're aiming at. If you aim at nothing, you hit nothing. If you scatter your focus, you lose your progress. But if you get clear, stay focused, and protect the bulks of time that move you forward, you'll feel your power return. Start thinking of your time as sacred. Treat your focus like a muscle. The more you use it deliberately, the stronger it gets. The more you protect it, the more it works for you. When you're working, work fully. When you're resting, rest completely. Don't blur the lines. Don't work distracted and then wonder why you're tired. Don't half-focus during your most important hours and expect meaningful results. Give each block of time the attention it deserves. Create space for momentum to build. When you plan your time, you make room for excellence. You allow space for deeper work, better decisions, and more meaningful progress. You eliminate the stress that comes from last-minute chaos. You reduce the mental fatigue that comes from multitasking. You build a rhythm. You feel in control, and that control builds confidence, not because everything always goes as planned, but because you're no longer living at the mercy of everything around you. If your days feel chaotic, it's not because life is too busy, it's because your priorities are too unclear. Get clear, get honest, and build systems that reflect your values. Don't let distractions steal another day. Don't let someone else's urgency become your emergency. Don't wait until you feel ready to take control. Just begin. Your time is your life in motion. The more intentionally you live it, the more powerfully you shape your future. Chapter 8. Face your fears and do what scares you. Most people spend their lives running from what makes them uncomfortable. They avoid the situations that make their heart race, their hands sweat, or their voice shake. But the truth is, everything you want, growth, strength, confidence, freedom, is waiting for you on the other side of that fear. It's not the fear itself that holds you back. It's the habit of backing away from it. When you avoid what scares you, you build a life of limits. When you face it, you discover what you're really made of. Fear isn't the enemy. It's a signal. It shows you where you need to grow. It reveals where you've been hiding. It draws a clear line between who you are and who you could become. And it's in the act of stepping across that line, even with your knees shaking and your stomach in knots, that transformation begins. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to stop turning away. The truth is, fear has a voice. And if you don't learn to challenge it, it will dominate your decisions. It will talk you out of applying, speaking up, trying again, being honest, or choosing what's right for you. It will keep you trapped in the same routines, the same habits, the same self-image, even if it makes you miserable. And the worst part is, most of the time, the thing you're scared of is nowhere near as painful as the regret of never facing it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move anyway. It's not about being fearless. It's about acting with full awareness of your fear and choosing not to let it stop you. You build courage like a muscle, through repetition, not by waiting for it to magically appear. The more often you do the thing that scares you, the more you begin to understand the truth. Fear loses its power when you stop obeying it. If you're afraid of failing, then try anyway. You'll either succeed or you'll learn. If you're afraid of being judged, show up anyway. You'll find that most people are too busy worrying about themselves to think much about you. If you're afraid of not being enough, act anyway. You'll grow into the person you've been doubting you could become. Nothing changes if you don't act. Nothing shifts if you don't face it. You don't overcome fear by thinking about it. You overcome it by walking straight into it and realizing you survived. The more you do this, the more you'll see that fear was just a story your mind created to keep you small. It's just a reaction, not a command. It's not the truth. It's just a familiar response to uncertainty. And uncertainty is part of every breakthrough. The first time you speak up for yourself, you'll feel the weight in your chest. The first time you set a boundary, you'll wonder if you're being too harsh. The first time you take a risk, your mind will flood with reasons to back out. But if you listen closely, there's a quieter voice beneath all of that. It's the part of you that wants more. The part that knows you're capable of better. That's the voice you need to follow, even if it's trembling. Facing your fears doesn't mean you never feel anxious. It means you stop letting anxiety make your decisions. It means you recognize the discomfort and you walk toward it instead of away from it. You stop letting fear delay your progress. You stop postponing the life you want because you're waiting to feel perfectly confident. Confidence comes after action, not before it. And clarity comes from experience, not from overthinking. Sometimes fear shows up in small ways. You procrastinate. You avoid conversations. You downplay your goals. You keep quiet. But under all of that is the same truth. You're afraid of what might happen if you fully show up, and that fear becomes a cage, slowly making your world smaller. The only way out is to act before you're comfortable, to do it scared, to step forward even when the outcome is uncertain. There will always be something you're not sure you can handle, something that feels too big, too risky, too different. But you can either use that as a reason to stay the same, or as fuel to grow stronger. Every time you face what you've been avoiding, you take your power back. You stop being a prisoner to fear, and you start becoming the kind of person who keeps promises to yourself, no matter how hard it gets. Look back at your life and think of the moments that changed you. The growth didn't come from comfort, it came from challenge, from effort, from choosing courage when it was easier to choose safety. That pattern will always hold true. The only way to become more is to go through what scares you. There is no shortcut, there is no hack. It's just one brave step at a time. You don't need to be fearless, you just need to move while feeling afraid. You don't need to be loud or bold. Quiet courage counts too. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. If something makes your hands shake, do it with shaking hands. If something makes your voice tremble, speak anyway. That's how strength is built, by doing what fear told you not to. And here's the truth most people miss. The fear never fully disappears, but your relationship to it changes. The more you act, the less you're controlled by it. The more you try, the less you're controlled by it. The more you try, the less intimidating it becomes. You'll start to see fear not as a stop sign, but as a green light, a sign that you're moving in the right direction, a sign that you're about to do something meaningful. The goal isn't to get rid of fear, it's to stop giving it the final say. If you let fear decide for you, it will rob you of opportunities, growth, connection, and purpose. If you decide instead, then fear becomes just another feeling, not a ruler. It loses its grip, and you gain your freedom. Whatever scares you right now, name it. Then do something about it. Not tomorrow. Not when it feels easier. Now. That's how change begins. That's how you start building the life you're capable of living. Not by hiding from fear, but by walking straight through it, one step at a time. Chapter 9. Choose discipline when motivation starts to fade away. There will be days when you don't feel like doing anything, days when your energy is low, when the excitement that pushed you forward yesterday is nowhere to be found today. It's easy to take action when motivation is strong, when the goal is fresh in your mind, when you're inspired, when it all feels new and exciting. Anyone can move in those moments, but what really shapes who you become is what you choose to do when all of that wears off. The moment motivation fades is the moment discipline takes over, or everything stalls. Discipline isn't loud or flashy. It doesn't give you a rush of excitement. It's not supposed to. Discipline is quiet. It's consistent. It's that part of you that keeps going without needing a reward. It shows up when your mood doesn't match your goals. It sticks around when no one's watching. It gets you out of bed when your body wants to stay under the covers. It makes you train when you're tired. It pushes you to do the hard things, especially when you'd rather avoid them. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never build anything meaningful. The path to results isn't found in bursts of motivation. It's carved out by repeated effort, especially on the days when you least feel like trying. You don't become consistent by waiting to be inspired. You become consistent by deciding to follow through, no matter how you feel in the moment. That's what discipline is, following through, even when your feelings disagree. People who achieve anything worthwhile have learned to keep going without needing to be constantly encouraged. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" They ask, "Did I say I would do it?" And then they do it. They understand that progress is a choice, not a mood. The way you rise above inconsistency is by taking your emotions out of the driver's seat. You still acknowledge them, but they don't get to lead. Your commitment does. You'll feel tempted to delay things, to put it off, to wait for a better moment. That's normal. But if you give in every time that temptation shows up, you start creating a habit of quitting. You teach your mind that giving up is acceptable. Over time, that becomes automatic. The only way to reverse it is by replacing that response with action. Small, steady action, even when you're tired, even when it's boring, even when no one claps for you. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's not about having perfect willpower. It's a skill you build through practice. You train it by deciding to stay consistent with your standards, no matter the circumstances. If you said you'd work out 3 times a week, you do it whether it's raining or sunny, whether you're in the mood or not. If you committed to writing, to studying, to waking up early, then that's what you follow. No excuses, no bargaining, just follow through. Your future depends more on discipline than on any natural talent or burst of motivation, because discipline builds structure, and structure allows progress. The person who keeps showing up will always beat the one who shows up only when they feel inspired. It's not about being perfect, it's about being dependable. You don't need to go all in every single day, but you need to stop walking away when it gets dull or uncomfortable. When motivation fades, doubt creeps in. You start questioning why you even started. You wonder if it's worth it. You compare your pace to others. You begin to believe that maybe you're not cut out for this, but that's not the truth. It's just the voice of resistance. And the only way to silence it is with action. Not debate, not delay, not reassurance, just action. Every time you choose discipline, you make that voice smaller. Every time you honor your commitment, you get stronger. And the more you practice this, the less dependent you become on how you feel. You stop waiting to be in the right mood, and you start trusting yourself to deliver regardless of the conditions. That's what makes you reliable to yourself. That's how you build confidence, not by thinking positively, but by proving to yourself that you won't quit. You can have all the motivation in the world and still not move forward if you lack discipline. And you can have zero motivation and still make progress if your discipline is strong, because discipline carries you when motivation disappears. It turns decisions into habits and effort into growth. It removes the need to argue with yourself every day. You don't have to waste mental energy deciding whether to do the thing, you just do it. It's who you are now. That's the shift. You stop seeing discipline as punishment or pressure. You start seeing it as freedom, because discipline frees you from inconsistency. It frees you from the cycle of starting and stopping. It gives you control over your time, your choices, and your future. It becomes the tool that supports your goals, not the thing that restricts you. When you operate with discipline, your days become clearer. Your goals get simpler. Your mind gets quieter. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation asks, what do I feel like doing? Discipline asks, what did I decide matters to me? One is reactive. The other is grounded. One fades. The other stays. So when you notice that your motivation is gone, take it as a cue to lean deeper into discipline. Don't see it as a sign to stop. See it as an invitation to prove to yourself that you're capable of consistency, even without the spark. You're not always going to want to do the work, but if you've already decided that you're the kind of person who follows through, then that moment becomes simple. You just do what needs to be done, not perfectly, not impressively, but honestly. And honestly showing up day after day, even when it's hard, is what moves you forward more than anything else. You'll have to ignore the excuses. You'll have to push past the hesitation. You'll have to quiet the part of your mind that wants to take it easy. But if you do, if you keep showing up, especially when it's difficult, you'll realize something powerful. The most valuable things in life don't come from motivation. They come from discipline. And that is completely within your control. Chapter 10. Reflect each night on wins, struggles, and lessons learned. Every day holds moments that can teach you something important if you take the time to notice. Reflecting each night is not about judgment or self-criticism. It's about honest observation, learning, and gratitude. It's a habit that separates those who drift through life from those who move forward with intention. Taking a few quiet minutes before sleep to review your wins, your struggles, and the lessons they contain creates a powerful cycle of growth. This simple practice turns experience into wisdom and confusion into clarity. When you reflect, you make your day meaningful. Instead of rushing from one moment to the next, you stop and look back with care. You acknowledge what you did well and allow yourself to feel pride in those victories, no matter how small. Celebrating your wins each night builds confidence and motivation. It reminds you that progress is happening, even if it's slow. Those wins are proof that your efforts matter. They are fuel to keep going when challenges arise. Struggles are not failures, they are signals. When you pause to examine what didn't go well, you gain insight into where change is needed. Reflection helps you see patterns that keep you stuck. It reveals gaps between your actions and your goals. Struggles teach you about your weaknesses, your fears, and your limits. But more importantly, they guide you on how to improve. Without this step, you might repeat the same mistakes without learning. Reflection transforms difficulties into opportunities for growth. Each lesson you uncover in your nightly reflection sharpens your understanding of yourself and your journey. Lessons are the bridge between your past and your future. They help you adapt and adjust your approach. They deepen your wisdom and resilience. When you consciously look for lessons, you stop blaming circumstances or other people. Instead, you take ownership of your growth. This mindset turns every experience, good or bad, into a building block for your success. Reflection grounds you in reality. It forces you to slow down in a world that pushes speed and distraction. In those moments of quiet review, you connect with your true self beyond the noise. You see what truly matters. You become more aware of your values, your priorities, and your progress. This awareness is crucial because without it, you're likely to repeat patterns that don't serve you or chase after goals that aren't really yours. Doing this nightly reflection doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. A simple habit of writing 3 things, 1 win, 1 struggle, and 1 lesson, can change your mindset over time. Writing helps you organize your thoughts, process emotions, and hold yourself accountable. It creates a record of your growth that you can look back on to see how far you've come. This habit builds self-discipline and clarity that ripple into other areas of your life. Reflection also helps you manage stress and negative emotions. When you acknowledge struggles and disappointments honestly, you release their hold on your mind. You stop carrying unnecessary burdens into tomorrow. This prevents overwhelm and burnout. It creates mental space for new possibilities. Instead of repeating the same worries, you focus on solutions. You approach challenges with a clear mind and a calm heart. Over time, nightly reflection builds resilience. When you recognize that struggles are part of growth, you become less afraid of failure. You start to see setbacks as temporary and valuable experiences instead of dead ends. This mindset empowers you to keep going even when the path is difficult. It strengthens your ability to adapt and bounce back. Reflection becomes a tool that supports your long-term success, not just immediate comfort. Reflection is also a form of self-respect. It shows that you value your own progress and care about your development. It shifts your focus from external validation to internal growth. This shift is essential because true motivation and fulfillment come from within. When you take the time to review your day, you invest in yourself. You honor the effort you put in and prepare yourself for what's next. In a practical sense, this habit improves decision-making. When you regularly analyze your actions and outcomes, you become better at identifying what works and what doesn't. You make smarter choices that align with your goals. You stop repeating behaviors that drain your energy or lead to frustration. Reflection brings clarity to your path and helps you stay on course. The power of reflection grows with consistency. It's not about doing it perfectly every night, but about showing up often enough to notice change. When you commit to this practice, you create momentum. You train your mind to look for growth in every situation. You build a habit that supports lifelong learning and self-improvement. This habit protects you from stagnation and keeps you moving forward. When the days are tough, reflection helps you find silver linings. When the progress feels slow, it reminds you of the small wins that add up. When doubt creeps in, it brings you back to the facts of your journey. It creates perspective that calms the mind and fuels perseverance. This is why reflection is not just a habit, but a mindset, a way of living with awareness and purpose. Reflection also connects you with your emotions. It helps you understand how your feelings influence your actions and decisions. By recognizing emotional patterns, you gain control over them instead of being controlled by them. This emotional intelligence improves your relationships, your work, and your self-confidence. You become more compassionate toward yourself and others because you see the full picture of growth. When you develop the habit of reflecting each night, you become a student of your own life. You stop living on autopilot. You stop repeating old stories without questioning them. You start to write your own story with intention and clarity. Each night's reflection is a checkpoint, a moment to adjust your course and recommit to your goals. This creates a cycle of improvement that compounds over time. Reflection invites gratitude into your daily life. When you look back, you naturally notice things you did well and moments you're thankful for. Gratitude softens the mind and opens the heart. It reduces anxiety and increases happiness. By including gratitude in your reflection, you balance honesty about struggles with appreciation for progress. This balance creates emotional resilience and joy in the journey. The simple act of pausing each night to reflect can transform how you experience your days. It shifts your focus from rushing toward the next task to valuing the lessons hidden in what's already passed. This mindset reduces stress and increases satisfaction. It creates space for calm and clarity. It allows you to end your day with peace and prepare your mind for rest and renewal. Reflection teaches you to own your story with courage and honesty. Gives you the power to change your future by learning from your past. It keeps you grounded in the present while guiding your next steps. This daily habit creates a strong foundation for personal growth, resilience, and success. The more you reflect, the clearer your path becomes and the stronger your commitment grows. In the end, the habit of nightly reflection is a gift you give yourself. It's a chance to close each day with intention and purpose. It's a moment to celebrate progress, face challenges, and gain wisdom. It's the practice that turns experience into growth and effort into results. When you make reflection a part of your daily routine, you build a life that moves forward with clarity, strength, and meaning. Chapter 11. Eat clean food that fuels your body and mind. The fuel you choose for your body directly shapes how you feel, think, and perform every day. Eating clean food isn't just about avoiding junk or dieting. It's about choosing nourishment that supports your energy, focus, and resilience. Your body is the foundation for everything you want to accomplish, so what you put in it matters more than you may realize. When you eat clean, you give yourself the best chance to show up fully, think clearly, and push harder without burning out. Clean eating means prioritizing whole foods, those that come from nature and are minimally processed. Vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, lean proteins, and whole grains provide the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients your brain and muscles need to function optimally. These foods help balance your blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and sustain your energy throughout the day. Eating this way sets a steady pace for your body, avoiding the crashes and foggy feelings caused by sugar spikes or artificial additives. When your meals are filled with real, unprocessed ingredients, your mind clears. You become sharper, more focused, and more creative. Your mood stabilizes because your brain receives the nutrients it needs to regulate chemicals that control stress and motivation. You can face challenges with calm instead of overwhelm. This mental clarity is the difference between drifting through your day and attacking it with intention. Choosing clean food is also about discipline. It requires thought and preparation because convenience foods are designed to be quick and easy, but often come loaded with empty calories and chemicals that weigh you down. It means planning meals ahead and resisting the lure of quick fixes, but that discipline pays off in energy, endurance, and long-term health. It helps you avoid sluggish afternoons and afternoon crashes that steal your focus and motivation. It's important to understand that clean eating doesn't mean deprivation or restriction. It means abundance, Plenty of nutrient-rich, satisfying foods that nourish your body and delight your senses. Eating clean is about honoring your body's needs, not punishing yourself for what you crave. When you focus on what you gain, energy, vitality, mental clarity, you find it easier to choose foods that serve you instead of harm you. Hydration is a critical part of clean eating. Your brain is mostly water, and even mild dehydration can reduce cognitive function and increase fatigue. Drinking clean, filtered water throughout the day supports digestion, detoxification, and overall performance. Avoid sugary drinks and excessive caffeine, which can cause energy spikes followed by crashes. Water is simple but powerful fuel for your body and mind. One practical step is to read labels carefully. Many packaged foods are disguised as healthy but contain hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, or artificial ingredients. Learning to identify these helps you make better choices. Cooking at home more often gives you control over what goes into your meals. Preparing your food allows you to use fresh ingredients and avoid unnecessary additives. It turns eating into an act of self-care rather than convenience. Mindful eating goes hand in hand with clean eating. Paying attention to how your body reacts to different foods teaches you what fuels you best. Notice how certain meals make you feel energized and alert, while others leave you tired or bloated. This awareness helps you tailor your diet to your unique needs and goals. It builds a stronger connection between your mind and body that supports better decisions every day. Balanced meals that combine protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates provide steady energy. Protein supports muscle repair and brain function. Healthy fats, like those found in avocados, nuts, and olive oil, help regulate hormones and improve brain health. Complex carbs in whole grains and vegetables break down slowly, keeping blood sugar stable. This combination keeps hunger at bay and focus sharp, reducing the temptation to reach for quick, sugary snacks. Clean eating improves your sleep quality, which fuels your performance the next day. Avoid heavy processed or sugary foods close to bedtime. These disrupt your natural rhythms and reduce restorative sleep. Good sleep strengthens your immune system, sharpens memory, and improves mood. When you eat clean, you support this essential process and wake up ready to take on the day. Your environment plays a big role in maintaining clean eating habits. Stock your kitchen with wholesome foods. Remove tempting junk from your reach. When you're busy or stressed, it's easy to grab whatever is easiest, so making healthy food the most accessible option is a powerful form of discipline. Preparing meals in advance and having healthy snacks on hand reduce the chances of making impulsive choices. Clean eating also impacts your long-term health. It reduces the risk of chronic illnesses like diabetes, heart disease, and inflammation. It supports your body's natural ability to repair and regenerate. This foundation keeps you strong and capable to face life's demands, physically and mentally. When you commit to eating clean, you invest in your future self, stronger, healthier, and more capable. You don't have to make drastic changes all at once. Small, consistent shifts build lasting habits. Start by adding more vegetables to your meals or swapping sugary drinks for water. Gradually replace processed snacks with nuts or fruit. Each healthy choice creates momentum that makes the next one easier. Over time, clean eating becomes a natural part of how you care for yourself. Eating clean also enhances your emotional well-being. When you nourish your body properly, your stress response diminishes. You feel more balanced, less anxious, and more in control. This emotional stability helps you make better decisions and maintain focus on your goals. Food becomes a tool for strength rather than a source of guilt or frustration. Listen to your body's signals. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and choose foods that make you feel good. Avoid emotional eating or eating out of boredom. Clean eating is about tuning into your body's real needs, not reacting to external triggers. This mindfulness deepens your relationship with food and strengthens your discipline. In the end, clean eating is a choice to respect your body and mind. It's a decision to fuel yourself with what supports your energy, clarity, and resilience every day. It's about creating habits that sustain your growth and performance. When you feed yourself well, you build a foundation for everything else in your life. Energy rises, focus sharpens, motivation lasts, health improves. The way you eat directly impacts the way you live and the way you become. This journey is personal and unique. No single diet fits everyone. What matters most is the intention behind your choices. Approach food as fuel and medicine. Nourish your body as you would a precious tool that carries you through life. When you commit to eating clean, you commit to showing up fully. You empower yourself to meet every challenge with strength and clarity. That commitment changes everything. Chapter 12. Surround yourself with honest, strong, and driven people. The people you choose to spend time with shape your mindset, habits, and ultimately the direction of your life. Surrounding yourself with honest, strong, and driven individuals creates a powerful support system that pushes you to grow, stay accountable, and remain focused on your goals. The company you keep either elevates you or holds you back. When you surround yourself with the right people, your energy shifts, your standards rise, your vision becomes clearer. You begin to reflect the qualities you admire in them, often without even realizing it. Honesty is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. Being around people who speak truth with kindness helps you see yourself clearly without distortion. They challenge you when you're off course and celebrate your wins without jealousy. Honest people don't sugarcoat reality just to protect your feelings. They tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. This can be uncomfortable, but it builds integrity and clarity in your decisions. It forces you to confront blind spots and grow beyond your current limitations. Strength in others inspires strength in you. When you witness people who have endured hardships and kept moving forward, it becomes easier to believe in your own resilience. Strong people don't avoid challenges. They face them head-on and find ways to overcome. Their mindset, actions, and persistence serve as a living example of what's possible. Being around such individuals raises your tolerance for discomfort and teaches you that setbacks are temporary and solvable. Their strength becomes contagious and pushes you to raise your own standards. Driven people create momentum. Their focus and determination energize the environment. When you spend time with those who have clear goals and work steadily toward them, it naturally motivates you to do the same. Driven individuals don't waste energy on distractions or excuses. They make daily choices that align with their vision. This kind of environment makes it easier to stay on track because ambition becomes the norm rather than the exception. It pushes you to stop settling for less and aim higher. Choosing who to surround yourself with is not just about finding cheerleaders. It's about finding honest critics who want to see you improve, strong examples who inspire perseverance, and driven companions who keep you accountable. It requires courage to distance yourself from those who drain your energy or hold you back, even if they've been part of your life for a long time. You must prioritize your growth over comfort and familiarity. That may mean setting boundaries or letting go of relationships that no longer serve your purpose. The people you surround yourself with influence your language, your habits, and your mindset. If you spend time with pessimists, you'll likely adopt their negative outlook. If you're around people who settle for mediocrity, you may unconsciously lower your own standards. On the other hand, being with honest, strong, and driven people elevates your thinking and behavior. Their attitudes shape what you believe is possible for yourself. They encourage you to dream bigger, work harder, and stay consistent. Investing in relationships with these kinds of people means more than just being near them physically. It means engaging deeply and learning from their experiences, listening to their stories, asking questions about their struggles and successes, and applying their lessons to your own life builds a network of wisdom. These connections provide guidance when your own motivation falters and keep you aligned with your values and goals. It's important to also be that kind of person for others. Relationships are reciprocal. When you commit to honesty, strength, and drive, you attract similar people into your life. You create a culture of growth and accountability that benefits everyone involved. This mutual support forms a foundation for success that no individual can build alone. Being surrounded by motivated and trustworthy people helps you push through obstacles because you're not isolated in your journey. Strong and driven people often challenge you to confront your excuses and complacency. They ask hard questions and refuse to accept anything less than your best. This can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary for growth. Comfort zones shrink when surrounded by those who expect more. These relationships push you to develop discipline and perseverance. They remind you that real progress requires effort beyond what feels easy. Honesty among your circle fosters trust. When you know you can speak openly without judgment, you release the weight of pretense. You can share your fears and failures without fear of rejection. This safe space is essential for true growth, because vulnerability is the gateway to change. Honest conversations reveal where you're stuck and what needs to shift. They help you see yourself with clarity and compassion. Driven people understand the value of time and focus. They don't waste energy on gossip or negativity. Their presence encourages you to prioritize your own goals. When you're around focused individuals, you're less likely to get distracted by trivial matters. You learn to protect your energy and commit to what really matters. This shift sharpens your productivity and deepens your sense of purpose. Building these relationships requires effort and intention. It means seeking out communities, groups, or networks where these qualities are valued. It means stepping outside your usual circles and finding environments that challenge and support you. It also means being willing to give as much as you receive, sharing your own strengths and honesty to contribute to the growth of others. Relationships thrive on balance and mutual respect. Over time, the influence of honest, strong, and driven people compounds. Your mindset changes. Your habits improve and your confidence grows. You start to see challenges as opportunities because that's the perspective your circle models. Your goals become clearer because you have examples to follow and support along the way. You stop second-guessing yourself because your environment reinforces your worth and potential. The energy of the people around you is contagious. When you're surrounded by those who refuse to settle, who take responsibility for their lives, and who hold themselves accountable, you start to mirror those qualities. You adopt their resilience, focus, and courage. This creates a positive cycle where your success feeds their success, and vice versa. You become part of a community built on growth, trust, and shared ambition. Choosing your company wisely is one of the most practical and impactful steps you can take toward personal growth. It's not just about finding friends or mentors. It's about creating an ecosystem that supports your goals and values. This ecosystem acts as a constant reminder of who you want to be. It challenges you when you stray and celebrates you when you progress. Surrounding yourself with honest, strong, and driven people is not a luxury, it's a necessity. In the end, the relationships you build are a reflection of the person you are and the person you want to become. Surrounding yourself with integrity, strength, and ambition pushes you beyond your limits. It creates a foundation for lasting success and fulfillment. When you choose your circle carefully, you choose growth, clarity, and a future full of possibility. Chapter 13. Track your habits and review your progress weekly. Tracking your habits and reviewing your progress weekly creates a powerful feedback loop that accelerates personal growth and builds lasting change. Habits are the building blocks of your daily life. They shape your results more than your intentions or motivation ever will. When you track your habits, you bring awareness to what you're actually doing versus what you want to do. This awareness is the first step toward making deliberate improvements. Without it, you're guessing and hoping for change instead of creating it with precision. Recording your habits helps you see patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. Some habits support your goals and energy, while others drain you or hold you back. When you write down your daily actions, you identify where your time and effort are going. This clarity helps you decide what to keep, what to adjust, and what to remove. Tracking turns vague intentions into concrete data. This data is powerful because it informs your decisions with facts rather than feelings or assumptions. Weekly review is where the real growth happens. It's a time to step back from the daily grind and assess your progress honestly. Reviewing your tracked habits allows you to celebrate your wins and acknowledge your challenges. This practice creates a balanced view of your efforts, preventing discouragement from setbacks and complacency from success. It also keeps you connected to your bigger goals by reminding you why these habits matter. Weekly reflection turns scattered efforts into a clear direction. Tracking and reviewing habits strengthens your discipline. When you know you'll check your progress at the end of the week, you're more likely to stay consistent. This accountability acts like a compass, keeping you on course when distractions or temptations arise. It makes your commitment real because you're not just acting blindly, you're monitoring your actions and their effects. This ongoing process builds self-trust and confidence, which are essential for long-term success. The process doesn't have to be complicated. A simple notebook, spreadsheet, or habit tracking app can do the job. The key is consistency and honesty. Recording small wins daily, whether it's drinking enough water, exercising, reading, or avoiding distractions, builds momentum. Seeing a chain of successes motivates you to keep going because it feels tangible and achievable. Breaking goals into daily habits and tracking them makes big ambitions manageable. Weekly review gives you space to analyze what's working and what isn't. If a habit feels difficult or irrelevant, reflection helps you adjust or replace it with something more effective. This flexibility is crucial because not all habits serve you equally at every stage. Life changes, and so should your approach. A habit that worked last month might need tweaking now. Weekly reviews ensure your habits evolve with your goals instead of becoming stale routines. Tracking habits also reveals hidden obstacles. Sometimes you don't realize how often you skip a crucial step or fall into a negative pattern until you see it on paper. This insight allows you to tackle the root causes rather than just symptoms. Maybe you notice you procrastinate more on certain days or after specific events. Recognizing these triggers enables you to plan strategies to avoid or manage them better. This targeted approach saves time and frustration. Progress review encourages gratitude and positive reinforcement. When you look back at what you accomplished during the week, you reinforce the value of your efforts. Celebrating progress, even small steps, builds a positive mindset that fuels motivation. It shifts focus from what's missing or difficult to what's gained and possible. This shift in perspective keeps you engaged and hopeful, which are essential for maintaining long-term habits. Review sessions help you set priorities for the upcoming week. Based on your tracked data and reflections, you can decide which habits need more attention or which goals to push harder. This planning reduces overwhelm and increases focus. Instead of guessing or reacting to circumstances, you choose your actions with intention. This proactive mindset makes your days more productive and meaningful. Tracking your habits creates a sense of ownership over your journey. It turns vague desires into measurable actions and results. This ownership builds empowerment because you see the direct connection between your daily choices and your progress. You stop blaming external factors for lack of results because you have clear evidence of what you did and didn't do. This mindset shift is critical for growth because it moves you from passive wishful thinking to active responsibility. The process also builds patience and persistence. Change doesn't happen overnight, and weekly reviews remind you of that truth. Seeing gradual progress helps you avoid frustration and discouragement. It teaches you that consistency over time produces results. This understanding deepens your commitment and reduces the temptation to give up when immediate rewards aren't visible. Tracking habits and weekly reviewing builds mental clarity. When you take time to reflect, you clear the mental clutter and focus on what truly matters. This clarity improves decision-making and reduces wasted effort. You can identify distractions or bad habits more easily and replace them with productive alternatives. This clarity sharpens your overall strategy and speeds up your progress. This practice also creates a record of your growth journey. Looking back at past weeks shows how far you've come, reminding you of your strength and capability. This record becomes a source of motivation and self-belief during tough times. It proves that progress is possible and within your control. Reviewing this history deepens your commitment because you see tangible proof of change. Tracking and reviewing habits is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's normal to miss days or struggle with certain habits. The goal is not to punish yourself, but to learn and improve. Honest tracking helps you identify obstacles without judgment, creating space for problem solving. Weekly reviews encourage compassion toward yourself while maintaining accountability. This balance is essential for sustainable growth. This habit also improves your ability to set realistic goals. When you regularly monitor your actions and results, you gain insight into what you can handle and how long it takes to build new habits. This insight prevents burnout and disappointment by helping you set achievable targets. It encourages smart planning that aligns with your capacity and lifestyle. Tracking and reviewing also supports motivation. Seeing progress over time energizes you to continue. It creates a sense of achievement that feeds your confidence. Even small improvements become powerful reminders that your efforts are not wasted. This positive reinforcement makes it easier to maintain momentum and overcome moments of doubt. Finally, this practice encourages lifelong learning and adaptation. Habits and goals evolve as you grow. Regular review keeps you flexible and responsive to change. It prevents stagnation by encouraging continuous improvement. When you commit to tracking your habits and reviewing your progress weekly, you commit to a dynamic process of growth that adapts to your life and ambitions. In summary, habit tracking combined with weekly review transforms vague intentions into concrete actions and results. It builds awareness, accountability, clarity, and resilience. It fosters a mindset of continuous improvement and empowers you to take control of your journey. This simple yet powerful practice is a cornerstone of success that keeps you moving forward steadily and confidently. Chapter 14. Build routines that support your long-term vision. Creating routines that align with your long-term vision is essential for turning your goals into reality. A vision without supportive daily habits remains just a dream. Routines provide structure and consistency, turning intentions into automatic actions. When your routines reflect what you want to achieve in the future, you build momentum that carries you forward even when motivation wanes. These routines become the invisible framework that shapes your success over time. The first step in building meaningful routines is to clearly define your long-term vision. What do you want your life to look like 5, 10, or 20 years from now? The clearer and more specific your vision, the easier it is to identify the daily actions that will lead you there. Without a well-defined destination, routines can become aimless or disconnected from your true goals. Your vision acts as a compass, guiding the choices you make each day. Once your vision is clear, break it down into smaller milestones and habits that support it. These habits don't have to be grand or complicated. Often, the simplest actions repeated consistently create the biggest impact. Identify the key areas of your life that your vision touches, whether it's health, career, relationships, or personal growth, and design routines that nurture these areas. The focus should be on progress, not perfection. Building routines requires intentionality. You must decide what habits will move you closer to your vision and commit to practicing them regularly. This means scheduling time for these actions and protecting that time fiercely. Consistency is more important than intensity. Doing a little every day beats doing a lot sporadically. Routines are about building daily discipline that compounds over months and years. Starting small makes routine building manageable and sustainable. Trying to overhaul your entire day at once is overwhelming and often leads to burnout. Choose 1 or 2 key habits to establish first and focus on making those automatic. Once these are firmly in place, gradually add more. This step-by-step approach builds confidence and prevents discouragement. Small wins build momentum and create a positive feedback loop. Routines also help reduce decision fatigue. When you automate important actions, you free your mind to focus on creativity and problem solving. Deciding what to do every morning or after work drains mental energy. When these choices are habitual, you conserve energy for challenges that require your full attention. Routines create stability and reduce stress by removing uncertainty. Adapting routines to your lifestyle and personality increases the likelihood of success. Not all routines work for everyone. Some people thrive with morning workouts, others with evening meditation. Experiment to find what fits your rhythm and energy levels. Flexibility within structure is key. The goal is to create routines that feel natural and supportive, not forced or punitive. Tracking your routines helps reinforce them. Use a journal, app, or checklist to record your daily actions. This creates accountability and motivation. Seeing a streak of completed habits builds pride and encourages continuation. If you miss a day, tracking helps you identify obstacles and adjust, rather than quit. Reviewing your routines regularly ensures they stay aligned with your evolving vision. Routines also provide a sense of control and stability during uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, but consistent habits anchor you. When external circumstances shift, routines keep you grounded and moving forward. They become a source of resilience that helps you adapt without losing sight of your goals. In this way, routines are not just tools for productivity, but also for emotional strength. It's important to build routines that balance all aspects of your life. Neglecting areas like rest, social connection, or creativity can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. Your long-term vision should include a holistic view of success that values well-being and fulfillment. Design routines that nourish your body, mind, and relationships. This balance sustains your energy and motivation for the long haul. Routine building requires patience. Results may not be immediate, but the impact grows over time. Each repetition strengthens your habits, and rewires your brain to support your vision. This gradual transformation builds a foundation for lasting success. Trusting the process and staying committed even when progress feels slow is essential. Routines are investments in your future self. Avoid rigid perfectionism in routines. Life's demands will sometimes interrupt your habits, and that's okay. Flexibility and forgiveness keep you consistent over time. Missing a day or adjusting a routine doesn't mean failure. It's an opportunity to learn and adapt. A routine that fits your life rather than confines it is sustainable and empowering. Accountability partners or mentors can support routine building. Sharing your goals and habits with someone else creates external motivation and encouragement. They can offer perspective when challenges arise and celebrate your progress. Community strengthens commitment and reduces isolation. When you surround yourself with people who respect your vision, routines become easier to maintain. Celebrate the small victories within your routines. Each day you complete a habit is a step closer to your vision. Recognizing these moments builds confidence and joy in the journey. It shifts your focus from distant outcomes to present actions. This mindset makes routine building enjoyable rather than a chore. Routines influence your identity. The actions you repeat shape who you become. When you consistently practice habits aligned with your vision, you begin to see yourself differently. You become the kind of person who prioritizes growth, discipline, and purpose. This identity shift reinforces your routines and motivates you to keep going. As your vision evolves, so should your routines. Regularly revisit your long-term goals and adjust your habits accordingly. What supported you last year may need tweaking now. Continuous alignment keeps your daily actions relevant and effective. This ongoing refinement creates a dynamic system that grows with you. The energy and focus generated by strong routines enable you to handle challenges more effectively. When your habits support your vision, you approach obstacles with resilience and clarity. You're less likely to be overwhelmed or distracted. Instead, you respond with purpose and confidence. This strength is one of the greatest benefits of well-built routines. Routine building is a form of self-respect. It shows that you value your vision enough to create a daily practice that supports it. It's a commitment to yourself and your future. This commitment strengthens your self-discipline and belief in your ability to shape your life. Every routine you establish is a promise to invest in your growth. The cumulative effect of routines is profound. Small, consistent actions build momentum that can transform your life in unexpected ways. Over time, routines free you from reliance on motivation or willpower. They create automatic pathways to success that sustain you through ups and downs. This power makes routines one of the most effective tools for long-term achievement. In conclusion, building routines that support your long-term vision is a strategic and empowering practice. It turns your dreams into daily reality through consistent, intentional action. It provides stability, clarity, and resilience in a changing world. When your routines reflect your highest goals, you create a life of purpose and progress. This foundation enables you to show up fully every day and move steadily toward the future you desire. Chapter 15. Speak kindly to yourself, especially when you fail. The way you talk to yourself shapes your entire experience of life, especially when things don't go as planned. Speaking kindly to yourself during failure is not just a comfort, it is a necessary practice for growth and resilience. The voice inside your head influences your confidence, motivation, and ability to bounce back. When that voice is harsh and judgmental, it creates barriers. When it is gentle and supportive, it opens doors to learning and progress. Treating yourself with kindness during failure is a powerful act of self-respect and self-leadership. Failing is inevitable on the path to any meaningful goal. No one escapes setbacks or mistakes. What matters most is how you respond to them. Harsh self-criticism might feel like motivation, but it often leads to shame and paralysis instead. It makes you doubt your worth and question your abilities. This kind of inner dialogue saps your energy and discourages trying again. Kind self-talk, on the other hand, encourages reflection and problem-solving. It helps you acknowledge what went wrong without defining your entire identity by it. When failure happens, the first step is to pause and notice your inner voice. Are you speaking to yourself as you would to a friend in a similar situation? If not, this is the moment to change the tone. Imagine what a trusted mentor or compassionate friend would say. Their words would be supportive, encouraging, and honest without being cruel. They would remind you that failure is part of growth and that setbacks do not erase your value or potential. Kindness toward yourself creates emotional safety. This safety allows you to face failure without fear or shame. When you feel safe, you're more open to learning and change. You can ask, "What can I do differently next time?" rather than "Why am I so bad at this?" This shift from judgment to curiosity is crucial for improvement. It turns failure into feedback rather than a final verdict. Practicing self-kindness requires intention. It won't happen automatically if your habit has been harsh self-judgment. Start by consciously replacing negative phrases with gentle ones. Instead of "I messed up again," try "This didn't go as planned, and that's okay." Instead of "I'm a failure," say "I'm human and still learning." These small changes in language reshape your mindset over time. They help rewire your brain to respond to challenges with compassion rather than fear. Writing affirmations or journaling can reinforce kind self-talk. When you document your experiences, include notes of encouragement to yourself. Celebrate your effort regardless of the outcome. Recognize progress, no matter how small. Reflect on your strengths and remind yourself of past successes. This practice builds a reservoir of positive thoughts you can draw from when failure feels overwhelming. Self-kindness also involves forgiveness. Holding on to guilt or blame after failure only prolongs pain and stalls progress. Forgiving yourself means accepting that mistakes are natural and not a reflection of your worth. It means letting go of perfectionism, unrealistic expectations. Forgiveness frees mental space and energy to focus on solutions and growth instead of punishment. Another powerful tool is reframing failure as a learning opportunity. Every setback carries valuable information about what to improve. When you speak kindly to yourself, you create the emotional space to analyze these lessons without defensiveness. You become a student of your own journey rather than a harsh judge. This perspective turns challenges into stepping stones rather than obstacles. Kind self-talk also nurtures resilience. It strengthens your ability to recover from difficulties and maintain motivation. When you encourage yourself after failure, you build mental toughness that helps you keep going despite setbacks. This resilience is not about ignoring pain, but about acknowledging it with compassion and choosing to move forward anyway. Your inner dialogue influences your habits and behavior. Negative self-talk often leads to avoidance and procrastination because you fear failure or judgment. Positive, kind self-talk increases your willingness to take risks and face challenges. It reduces anxiety and self-doubt, making it easier to stay consistent with your goals. When you treat yourself kindly, you create a foundation for sustained effort and growth. It's important to recognize that self-kindness does not mean avoiding responsibility. Being kind to yourself includes honest reflection and accountability. It means recognizing where you can improve without harsh criticism. This balance between compassion and responsibility is essential. It allows you to learn from mistakes while maintaining self-worth and motivation. Mindfulness supports kind self-talk by helping you observe your thoughts without attachment. When you notice negative judgments arise, you can gently redirect your focus. Mindfulness creates distance between you and your inner critic, reducing its power. This practice makes it easier to choose kindness and compassion in moments of failure. Speaking kindly to yourself also affects your relationships. When you treat yourself with respect and compassion, you model those behaviors for others. It becomes easier to accept support and encouragement from friends and mentors. It improves your ability to communicate your needs and set healthy boundaries. Self-kindness builds emotional intelligence that strengthens connections with others. This practice takes time and patience. If you've been accustomed to harsh self-judgment, changing your inner voice won't happen overnight. Be patient and persistent. Celebrate small shifts in your thinking. Remember that kindness is a muscle that strengthens with use. Each time you choose to speak kindly to yourself, you reinforce new neural pathways that support this healthier mindset. When you cultivate self-kindness, failure loses its power to define you. You become a person who learns, adapts, and grows with grace. This mindset frees you to take risks, try new things, and pursue your goals without fear of judgment. It opens the door to true progress because you're not held back by inner resistance or doubt. In challenging moments, remind yourself that you are more than your mistakes. Your worth is inherent and not tied to performance. You deserve patience and understanding from yourself just as much as from others. Giving yourself this kindness fosters self-confidence and inner peace, creating a stable foundation for success. Kind self-talk builds courage. When you believe in your ability to recover from failure, you take bold actions. You approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear. This courage expands your potential and propels you forward on your path. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever have. Speaking kindly to yourself, especially during failure, strengthens this relationship. It nurtures self-trust and creates a safe inner environment where growth can flourish. This inner foundation supports every aspect of your life and empowers you to become your best self. In the end, speaking kindly to yourself is a choice, a practice that requires attention and commitment. It transforms failure from a stopping point into a stepping stone. It shifts your perspective from judgment to growth. It fuels resilience, courage, and progress. Choosing kindness toward yourself is one of the most powerful actions you can take on your journey to success and fulfillment. Chapter 16. Challenge your limits and embrace uncomfortable growth moments. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. It feels easier to stay where things are safe, predictable, and familiar. But the truth is, nothing meaningful happens there. If you want to grow, improve, and build a life that truly fulfills you, you must get used to doing hard things. You must seek out situations that stretch you beyond what feels natural or easy. Growth doesn't show up wrapped in comfort. It shows up disguised as resistance, challenge, and even fear. When you challenge your limits and step into discomfort on purpose, you take control of your evolution. You don't need to wait for life to force growth on you through pain or failure. You can choose to grow by deliberately stepping into areas that test you. That could mean speaking up when you'd rather stay silent, committing to something even though you're afraid to fail, or trying something new that exposes you to judgment. Every one of those choices makes you stronger. Each time you override the instinct to stay comfortable, you send a signal to yourself that you are capable of more. Avoiding discomfort doesn't protect you. It limits you. It keeps you small. It convinces you that discomfort is dangerous when it's actually the gateway to all of your untapped potential. When you make a habit of staying in your comfort zone, you become fragile. The smallest inconvenience or unexpected challenge knocks you off course. But when you train yourself to handle discomfort regularly, you become more stable, more durable, and more confident in your ability to face anything. The uncomfortable moments are the ones that build real progress. They test your commitment, they sharpen your thinking, they bring up insecurities and expose areas you need to strengthen. And that's the point. Growth isn't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to show you what you're made of. You can't know your strength until you've been in a position that demanded it. You can't unlock your full potential without pressure. Some of the most important transformations happen when you are willing to stay in situations where your first impulse is to escape. When your mind screams for you to quit, but your deeper self tells you to keep going, that's the edge of your current limit. Push through that edge, and your limit moves. You become someone who can handle more. You become someone who doesn't back down when things get hard. And that's how you grow into the kind of person you've always wanted to be. You won't always feel ready to grow. Most of the time, you'll feel unprepared. That's part of the discomfort. But you can act anyway. You can challenge yourself before you feel fully confident, because confidence doesn't come first, courage does. Courage is what gets you through the unknown. Confidence comes afterward, when you've proven to yourself that you can survive it. Every time you act with courage, you build self-respect. You stop seeing yourself as someone who runs. You start seeing yourself as someone who rises. It's easy to admire strong, successful people, but few are willing to go through what they went through to become that way. Behind every strong person is a long list of uncomfortable decisions they chose to face. The decision to keep going when things got hard. The decision to try again after failing. The decision to hold themselves accountable when no one was watching. If you want to become someone extraordinary, you have to be willing to do what ordinary people avoid. That always includes discomfort. Growth often starts with simple, uncomfortable actions. Waking up earlier than you want to, saying no to distractions, asking for help, being honest about your weaknesses, holding yourself to a standard when it would be easier to lower the bar. These are the daily moments where you get stronger, not just physically or mentally, but emotionally. Every time you follow through on something hard, you become more grounded. You build integrity. You start to trust yourself. One of the biggest traps people fall into is waiting until they feel like it. Growth doesn't wait for permission. It rewards the person who takes action despite fear, despite doubt, despite discomfort. You're not supposed to feel good every step of the way. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable. That's the point. That's where the change happens. When you feel the pressure and choose to keep going anyway, you build a new version of yourself that's more capable than the last. You can't be selective about discomfort. You can't pick and choose when to grow based on convenience. If you really want to change, you have to make a habit of choosing the harder road when it aligns with your goals. It doesn't mean burning yourself out or being reckless. It means saying yes to things that stretch you. It means not backing away from challenges just because they're unfamiliar or intense. Every area of your life gets better when you're willing to face discomfort. Your discipline improves, your focus sharpens, your sense of control increases. You start to see possibilities instead of problems. That shift in mindset makes you more prepared for anything life throws your way. You no longer crumble under pressure, because you've trained yourself to stay centered even when it's hard. You will face resistance. Your mind will try to talk you out of growth. It will whisper excuses, rationalizations, and fears. That voice gets louder the closer you get to a breakthrough, but you don't have to listen to it. You can override it. You can take action anyway. The more you practice ignoring that voice and moving forward regardless, the quieter it becomes. Eventually, it stops running the show. What you avoid today becomes the limit of your future. But what you face today becomes your strength tomorrow. The discomfort you're willing to embrace now will separate you from the masses. Most people never grow because they're waiting for the path to get easier. You grow because you learn to walk the hard path with your head held high. You stop asking for comfort and start asking what needs to be done. You will have moments where you fail. You'll fall short, mess up, or hit a wall. That's normal. That's part of growth. The key is to keep moving, to adjust, adapt, and attack again. If you're afraid of discomfort, you'll quit too early. If you accept discomfort as the cost of growth, you'll push through. And over time, discomfort becomes familiar. It stops scaring you. It becomes a signal that you're doing something right. You must take responsibility for your growth. No one is coming to make it easy. No one will do the hard work for you. But if you're willing to face what's hard, you will discover power within you that you didn't know existed. You'll stop needing external validation because you'll know what you're capable of. You'll respect yourself more deeply because you've earned it through effort. This journey isn't about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. That you won't run from discomfort. That you won't stay stuck in the same cycle. That you're willing to become who you're meant to be. Even if it costs comfort, even if it takes time, even if it challenges everything you thought you were. Growth is waiting on the other side of every limit. Your job is to meet it head-on, every single day. Chapter 17. Give value without expecting anything in return, ever. Most people give because they hope to get something back. Whether it's attention, recognition, approval, or some kind of reward, there's often an invisible condition attached to what they offer. But real power begins when you start giving value without expecting a single thing in return. Not because you're trying to look good or prove something, but because it's simply who you choose to be. That mindset separates you from the majority. It puts you in a category of people who move differently, think differently, and build relationships rooted in integrity rather than transaction. When you give freely, you become a source of value wherever you go. You don't need to announce it. You don't need applause. You just do it because it's right. Because it feels honest. Because it's how you want to live. And over time, that consistency becomes a force. People can sense it. They trust it. They know you're not trying to manipulate or take advantage. They feel your sincerity. And while you may not get immediate results, what you build is much more powerful. You build a reputation that no one can buy and no one can fake. Expectations ruin so many good things. They poison relationships. They taint generosity. They turn what could have been pure into something self-serving. The moment you expect something back, you give your power away. You tie your sense of worth to someone else's reaction. And if they don't give you what you wanted, you feel slighted, offended, disappointed. That feeling only exists because the original act wasn't clean. It was a negotiation disguised as kindness. If you want to live with peace, you have to let go of the scorecard. Stop keeping track of who owes you. Stop measuring what you're getting in return. Let your giving be whole. Let it be real. Let it be something you do because it aligns with your values. When you give from that place, you never feel used. You feel complete, because your sense of purpose didn't depend on anyone else playing their part. You did what you believed was right. And that's enough. This doesn't mean allowing others to walk all over you. It doesn't mean giving away your time, energy, or resources to people who abuse your kindness. You still have to use discernment. You still need boundaries. But when you choose to give, make sure it's coming from the right place. not from a place of neediness, desperation, or manipulation, but from clarity, from stability, from strength. Giving without expectation trains you to stop chasing validation. It forces you to become more self-reliant emotionally. You no longer need constant praise or reassurance to feel good about yourself. You stop performing for approval and start acting from your principles. That shift is powerful. It frees you. It grounds you. It builds a kind of quiet confidence that doesn't need to be shouted. It's felt. People notice when you give with no agenda. It leaves an impression. In a world full of selfish motives, that kind of presence stands out. And while you're not doing it for attention, the respect you earn from living that way is real. Not the kind of respect that fades when you stop delivering results, but the kind that grows because of who you are at your core. It also changes how you see yourself. When you make a habit of offering value with no strings attached, you stop viewing relationships as transactions. You see yourself as a contributor, not a collector. You stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" that truly helps. That mindset shift unlocks deeper connections. It attracts people who respect your energy instead of exploiting it. Giving is not always about big gestures. Sometimes it's about the smallest acts done consistently. Listening when someone needs to talk. Offering your presence when someone feels invisible. Helping someone solve a problem without expecting recognition. These little things build a legacy. They shape how people feel around you. They create an atmosphere where people feel safe, seen, and valued. One of the biggest traps is thinking that you're being taken for granted just because someone didn't respond the way you hoped. But what if your reward isn't something external? What if the act of giving was the reward itself? What if becoming the kind of person who gives freely is its own kind of success? You don't need the world to applaud you to be proud of how you show up. You don't need repayment to feel like it was worth it. When you release the need for return, you release yourself from disappointment. You stop waiting, you stop chasing, you start living from a deeper sense of alignment. Every time you offer something with a pure heart, you get stronger. You get clearer about who you are. You reinforce your values through your actions. And while the world may not always reward you instantly, you are creating a long-term foundation that cannot be shaken. You are building character, and character always wins in the long run, even when it feels like no one's watching. It's important to understand that people may not always notice your efforts. They might not say thank you. They might not reciprocate, and that's okay, because your giving wasn't about them, it was about you honoring the person you're becoming. Your reward is in the growth, the peace, the self-respect you gain by staying true to yourself. Life has a way of bringing things full circle. What you give often returns, but not always from the direction you expect. Sometimes it comes through unexpected opportunities, unexpected people, or inner growth that pays off in ways you couldn't have predicted. But you don't have to worry about that. Just keep giving, quietly, consistently, cleanly, and trust that doing the right thing always pays off, even if you can't see it yet. This approach also trains you to become more emotionally stable. When your actions are not tied to outcomes, you become less reactive. You're not constantly riding the highs and lows of how others treat you. You become anchored, grounded, peaceful. That's not weakness, it's emotional maturity. It's strength. It's rare. And if you do this long enough, it becomes second nature. You stop trying to impress. You stop waiting for validation. You stop over-analyzing what people think. Instead, you act from a place of inner direction. You give because it aligns with who you are, not because of how someone might respond. That's how you gain power. quiet power, the kind that doesn't depend on anything external to be steady. You're not here to keep score, you're not here to prove your worth. You're here to make an impact, and that impact starts with how you show up when there's nothing to gain. Anyone can be generous when there's a reward, but when you give with no agenda, you reveal your true strength. You become a builder, a giver, a person of substance, and that kind of character can't be shaken. Not by rejection, not by indifference, not by disappointment, because it was never about them. It was always about who you decided to be. Chapter 18. Stay calm under stress and respond with clarity. Most people lose their footing the moment things get hard. Pressure builds, emotions rise, and they start reacting from fear, frustration, or panic. In those moments, the real test begins. It's not about how loud you can be, how fast you can move, or how strong you appear. It's about how still your mind can remain when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. Staying calm under stress isn't about ignoring problems or pretending you're unaffected. It's about developing the strength to stay rooted in clarity when everything else is pulling you toward chaos. When you're calm, you see more, you hear more, you think more clearly. Instead of rushing into decisions you'll regret, you pause long enough to understand what's really going on. That gap between stimulus and response is where your control lives. If you don't pause, you give that control away. But if you take a breath, even just one conscious breath, you create space, and in that space, you get to choose your response. You're not at the mercy of stress. You're the one guiding the outcome. Clarity doesn't come from reacting impulsively. It comes from slowing down your thoughts so you can process what matters and what doesn't. Most of what people stress about is noise, assumptions, imagined outcomes, or reactions to things outside of their influence. When you're calm, you can separate what's true from what's emotional fiction. You can step back and ask, what part of this can I control? What's the next best step I can take? That kind of thinking only becomes possible when you're not caught in a mental storm. People often mistake intensity for strength, but the strongest people don't flinch under pressure. They don't lash out. They don't fold. They remain composed even if everything inside them is screaming. That inner stillness is what gives them the edge. They're not moved by drama. They don't rush to defend their ego. They operate from a place of logic and inner trust. That's what makes them effective when others are falling apart. To build this skill, you have to practice it long before the pressure hits. It starts with how you handle the small annoyances, the traffic jam, the missed call, the unexpected delay. If you lose control over the minor stuff, how can you expect to remain centered when real problems come? Every stressful moment is an opportunity to build that muscle, to stay still when you want to shout, to think before you act, to breathe when you want to react. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be intentional. Calmness is not something you're born with. It's a skill that gets stronger the more you use it. When you notice yourself tightening up, take a second to pause. Remind yourself that you're not the storm. You're the observer. You're not here to be tossed around by every emotion or unexpected situation. You're here to lead yourself. And you can't lead yourself if you're lost in panic. You lead by anchoring into calm thought, even when your emotions want to pull you somewhere else. Sometimes, the best decision you can make in a stressful situation is to do nothing right away. Not out of avoidance, but out of discipline. Giving yourself time to respond instead of react helps prevent damage that's hard to undo. Rash decisions made in anger or fear usually come with consequences that could have been avoided. Calmness helps you see the whole picture. It gives you access to solutions that aren't visible when your mind is racing. You'll also find that people around you start to respond differently. Calmness is contagious. When you're steady, you give others permission to relax. You shift the tone of the room just by how you carry yourself. You become the person others look to when things go wrong. Not because you have all the answers, but because you aren't adding to the chaos. You're clear, you're consistent, you bring reason when emotions are high. Clarity under stress also makes your words more impactful. When you speak without panic, people listen. They hear the intention behind your words. You're not trying to overpower anyone. You're trying to solve the problem. That tone changes everything. It opens up space for resolution instead of conflict. You're not making things personal. You're not trying to win. You're focused on what matters most, the outcome. Even when things don't go your way, calmness allows you to recover faster. You don't get stuck in regret or blame. You acknowledge what happened, learn what you can, and move forward with purpose. That ability to move on without dragging your emotions behind you is rare. Most people replay mistakes in their head and spiral, but when you train yourself to stay calm, you spend less time suffering and more time solving. You don't have to suppress how you feel. You can acknowledge your stress without becoming it. You can admit you're frustrated without letting it control your next move. Emotional maturity isn't about pretending to be unaffected. It's about managing your response in a way that still reflects your values. You choose how you show up, even when circumstances try to dictate your behavior. The more you practice this, the more confidence you build, because you start to trust yourself. You know that no matter what happens, you won't crumble, you won't act out of desperation, you won't say something you'll regret. That trust creates a deep sense of security. You stop fearing the unexpected because you've already trained your mind to handle it with presence and thoughtfulness. Life will never stop throwing challenges your way. There will always be difficult people, bad days, and unexpected problems, but you don't have to lose yourself every time something goes wrong. You don't have to let outside stress poison your inner state. You can meet the challenge without letting it take your peace. You can stay grounded even when the situation isn't fair. That's how you rise above it. Not by fighting the fire with more fire, but by being the calm in the middle of it. There's a kind of strength in that quiet response that few people ever understand. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, but it's powerful. It's the kind of strength that changes how you lead, how you solve problems, and how you carry yourself through life. And once you get a taste of that clarity, once you see how much better life becomes when you respond instead of react, you won't want to go back. Because nothing feels better than knowing you can handle whatever comes and stay yourself through all of it. Chapter 19. Visualize success daily and feel it with certainty. Before anything great happens in your life, it first begins in your mind. Success doesn't arrive out of nowhere. It's something you build, moment by moment, in the way you think, the way you speak to yourself, and most importantly, in the way you see your future before it even arrives. If you wake up every day expecting the same struggles, expecting the same limits, expecting to feel stuck, then that's exactly what your life will reflect. But if you begin each day by seeing where you want to go, and more than that, feeling the truth of it, like it's already happening, then you start moving in a different direction. That small intentional practice of visualizing your success, clearly, vividly, and emotionally, is not wishful thinking. It's preparation, it's mental training, and it's one of the most powerful shifts you can make. The world won't give you what you want, just because you hope for it. It starts giving you more when you believe you're already capable of receiving it. Not someday now, not if everything works out, but because you've already made the decision to become the kind of person who lives in alignment with that vision. Every goal you have, every outcome you're chasing, it all needs to be grounded in a belief that you belong there. And if you want to strengthen that belief, you have to see it first. You have to take time, every single day, to paint the picture clearly in your mind, not in general terms. Not just "I want to be successful." You need details. You need to feel what your life would look like when you've reached that next level. What does your morning feel like? How do you carry yourself in a room? What kind of conversations are you having? What kind of energy do you bring with you? That clarity is what activates your focus. Without that internal picture, your actions lack direction. You wake up and go through the motions. You chase what's urgent instead of what's important. You react instead of move with purpose. Visualization anchors you. It reminds you where you're headed, even when the day gets hard, even when doubt creeps in, even when the outside world doesn't reflect your inner goal yet. That's why you don't wait for evidence to start believing. You start believing first. And then slowly but surely, the world starts to respond. This is not about magic. It's about your nervous system. It's about your brain's ability to focus on what you tell it is important. If every morning you close your eyes and see yourself thriving, leading, achieving and growing, it rewires your default settings. You stop expecting failure. You stop reinforcing your past limitations. You start filtering life through possibility, not fear. That mental habit pushes you toward better choices. It makes you less distracted. It strengthens your discipline. You begin to act in alignment with your vision, because your mind starts identifying as the person who's already there. But to get there, you have to do more than imagine. You have to feel it, deep in your body. You can't just see yourself winning. You have to experience the pride, the peace, the confidence, the fire. You have to flood your body with the emotions that success brings. Now, the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. And once it becomes natural, your energy shifts. Your presence changes. People feel that you're not hoping. You're already there in your mind. That certainty becomes contagious. Most people talk themselves out of greatness before they even try. They repeat old stories, old failures, old insecurities. They think the future will look like the past because that's all they've seen. But when you commit to visualizing success daily, you interrupt that loop. You tell your mind a new story. You replace hesitation with intention. You break out of who you were and move toward who you're becoming. And yes, there will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when nothing is going right. Days when the vision feels far away. That's exactly when you need it most. That's when you close your eyes, breathe deep, and remind yourself why you started. You remind yourself what it looks like on the other side. You don't visualize to escape reality. You do it to shape it. You do it to remind yourself that your current situation is not the final chapter. It's just a page in the process. The truth is, your mind is always creating. It's always imagining something. If you don't give it a direction, it will replay fears, doubts, worst-case scenarios. You'll live in the mental shadow of what you don't want. Visualization flips that. It gives your mind a destination, and the more consistent you are, the faster your behaviors catch up. Because when your mind is locked in on success, your body starts working toward it. Without hesitation, you become more intentional with your time. You show up with more energy. You solve problems faster, because you believe the outcome is worth it. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about seeing the path clearly, even when the ground is shaky. It's about reminding yourself that you're capable, even when the evidence isn't there yet. You show up for your vision with faith, and that faith grows stronger the more you show up. Every day you visualize, you're not just seeing success, you're becoming someone who expects it. That expectation raises your standards. It sharpens your awareness. It attracts better people, better conversations, better opportunities, because you're no longer dragging around the old version of yourself. Make this a daily practice. Before the noise of the world reaches you, take a few minutes. Close your eyes, breathe slowly. Picture where you want to go. Feel what it will be like to be there. Walk through your future mentally until it feels real. Do it so often that you start carrying the energy of that version of you in every conversation, every challenge, every decision. That's not fantasy. That's how real change begins. The people who rise, who build, who transform, aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who believe deeply in what they're building before anyone else sees it. They carry that belief through doubt, through failure, through setbacks, because they've already seen the outcome in their mind 1,000 times. They don't need the world to approve. They've already approved it for themselves. Let that be you. Build that habit. Make your vision stronger than your circumstances. Let it drive you, anchor you, and shape how you show up every single day. You don't need to know every step. You just need to see the outcome clearly, feel it fully, and start moving with the certainty that you're already on your way. That mindset will change your life faster than anything else, because when you believe it's possible and you feel it as real, your actions start making it so. Chapter 20. Keep showing up, even when results come slowly. Most people want quick results. They start something new with energy and high hopes, but the moment things slow down, they start questioning themselves. They wonder if it's worth it, if they're doing something wrong, or if they should just give up and try something else. But the truth is, growth rarely comes fast. Real progress takes time, and during that time, most of the reward is invisible. You show up day after day, and it feels like nothing is changing. But beneath the surface, everything is moving. Your discipline is building. Your mindset is shifting. Your habits are getting stronger. And eventually those invisible changes begin to shape visible outcomes. That's why you have to keep going, especially when it feels like nothing's working. There are seasons in life when it feels like you're putting in the effort and getting nothing in return. You show up early, you stay consistent, you pour your energy into something meaningful, and still, you don't see the results you expected. That's the part that breaks most people. They start to believe the lack of progress means they're failing. But that's not failure. That's the process. That's where the test happens. Not in the easy days when everything clicks, but in the silent days when you have to trust yourself without proof. You have to learn how to move forward even when motivation fades. You have to wake up and give your best even when no one's clapping for you. You have to keep pushing when the results come slower than you want. That's what separates the people who build something lasting from those who keep starting over. When you commit to the work regardless of what the outcome looks like right now, you build resilience. You stop chasing quick wins. You stop depending on momentum to carry you. You become the kind of person who can keep showing up through discomfort, through doubt, through silence. There's something powerful that happens when you stop needing immediate results to stay consistent. You develop patience. And patience isn't just about waiting. It's about staying rooted in the belief that your efforts matter, even when the payoff isn't here yet. It's about trusting the process enough to keep watering the seed long before anything blooms. Every day you show up without giving in to discouragement. You strengthen your future. And even if it doesn't feel like it now, those days add up. They build something real. You won't always be inspired. Some mornings, you'll wake up tired. You'll feel like you're not making any progress. The work will feel heavy. your mind will try to talk you out of it. It'll tell you to take the day off, to lower your standards, to back away from what you committed to. That's when your discipline matters most. That's when you decide if you're going to be someone who only works when it feels good, or someone who honors their goals even in the slow, hard seasons. It's easy to stay excited when progress is fast, but true transformation happens when things move slowly and you still refuse to quit. You keep pushing forward, not because of what you're seeing today, but because of what you believe is coming. You hold your vision close, and you keep acting like it's worth it because it is. It's easy to forget that every person who's built something great once stood where you are right now, frustrated, doubtful, tired. But they kept showing up. They did the work when it was hard, and eventually the results caught up. Success doesn't usually come with fireworks or sudden breakthroughs. It often arrives quietly. It sneaks in after months of unnoticed effort. You'll wake up one day and realize that something feels different. You're stronger, more focused, more grounded. The actions that used to feel difficult are now automatic. The voice of doubt is quieter, the pressure is lighter. And you didn't get there by chance. You got there because you didn't stop when it was hard. Every time you follow through, even when you're not getting recognition, you're building a powerful foundation. You're proving to yourself that you're not someone who quits when things slow down. You're not someone who gives up just because progress isn't immediate. You're someone who follows through, someone who finishes what they start. That identity is worth more than any short-term outcome. It's not that you'll never have doubts. You will. It's not that you'll never feel frustrated. You will. But what matters is what you do with those feelings. Do you let them stop you, or do you feel them and still keep moving? That choice defines your future. It shapes who you become. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep showing up with intention. Keep showing up with effort. Keep showing up with belief. And some days, belief will be hard to find. That's okay. You don't need to feel certain every moment. You just need to stay in motion. Sometimes progress looks like big wins. Other times it looks like just not giving up. Showing up even when you don't feel like it is a win. Holding the line when no one else sees your vision is a win. Every quiet step forward counts. Remember that nothing meaningful grows overnight. Every skill, every breakthrough, every goal takes time. And the world is full of people who gave up 1 week, 1 month, one small step before everything could have changed. Don't let that be your story. Let your story be the one where you didn't give in, where you kept going, where you honored your commitment to yourself, even when the reward was slow to arrive. You are not behind. You're not failing. You're not invisible. You're in the middle of the process. You're learning. You're growing. And most importantly, you're building something real. The days when you keep going without results are the days that shape your character. They teach you what you're really made of. They teach you how to rely on your own standard instead of external validation. And that makes you unstoppable. So whatever it is you're working toward, keep showing up. Even if it's hard, even if it's quiet, even if no one else understands why you're doing it. You understand. You have a reason. You have a goal. And your job is to keep walking toward it. One day, everything you've worked for will meet you, and when it does, it'll make perfect sense why the results took their time. They weren't late. They were waiting for you to become ready. And that happens through the showing up, through the staying in it, through the choosing every single day not to quit.